In physical reality, there is the truth of what's happening here, and there's the illusion. The illusion is based in fear and is seen from a limited perspective. It seems like something's going wrong, something's bad, something should not be happening, or should be different than it is in some way. And so from that limited perspective, you dip down into a consciousness based in fear and lack, and you receive urges to change the conditions. Now, this could not happen without limiting beliefs. So the limiting beliefs are at the stem or the root of every unwanted event that you encounter. And yet the manifestation events that come are there to expose those limiting beliefs. And so the system is perfect. We'd like you to think of your belief system as a block of granite. If it is highly intense, that block of granite will be impenetrable. A rubber ball may bounce off it, and that rubber ball you might see as a new idea. If the new idea is in opposition to the belief system, well, the new idea cannot penetrate that block of granite. And so the block of granite is firmly affixed in your reality, your perception of reality, and it leads you to believe that you're a certain way, that other people are a certain way, that life is a certain way. And in essence, what this does is it tends to protect yourself from change, from harm, from unknown. And so since you fear rejection, harm, the unknown, loss of any kind, you create this rigid belief system that from your limited perspective you think will protect you from those unwanted things. This is in opposition to who you authentically are. So a rigid belief system would be formed by the inauthentic version of you. The authentic version of you is a being fully immersed in the awareness that all you are is love, and that everything that comes to you will resonate with that vibration of love, which is happening now. Everything that comes to you is also based in love. No matter how you perceive it as good or bad, right or wrong, it's always based in love. If it's a wonderful event that's perfectly aligned with your empowering beliefs, you will interpret it as good. It will make you feel good because it is true. If it is something that you perceive as unwanted, well, that will come from that belief system. You will interpret it as bad. You'll dip down into the stream of consciousness of lack. You'll receive urges to control it in some way, to change it in some way, to make it different than it is in some way. And this too is based in love because the event itself is there only to point out the limiting beliefs. And you very much want to discover those limiting beliefs. So as you exist now with your set of beliefs and your worldview, you simply think this is how life is. This is what that means. That color blue is blue. That is a tree. That is a house. That is a car. That is my friend. Those things. And by knowing those things, it appears to make you somewhat safe in this physical reality. You might want to gather more information. You might like to watch the news. You watch the news in order to protect yourself from some event that you could be unfamiliar with. And so you watch the news, and of course the news is all about these things that are full of fear that you can protect yourself from. And you say, I am now informed about more things that I need to protect myself from. And that's simply coming from a limited belief. So the more rigid your beliefs are, your limiting beliefs are, the more you'll want to confirm those beliefs and protect yourself from harm. The less rigid those beliefs are, the more you'll be open to new information and new ideas. And so all of you have come to this vibration where your belief systems are rigid in some forms, but less rigid in the ideas of the universe, the law of attraction, these teachings. And so you have found your way to these teachings only because somewhere along the way you reduced the intensity of any limiting beliefs, or you did not pick up limiting beliefs that said that this information, these teachings, were in opposition to anything else that you've learned, anything else that you truly believed. In fact, many of you will say that these teachings resonate with you on some other level. But all of this new information, which is essentially coming from your inner self because your inner self led you to this information in a form that could be digested based on your current set of beliefs. So in this area of spirituality, your beliefs are more flexible, more open, less rigid. In other areas of your life, the areas of your life that may not seem to be working so well, you can know for sure that you have highly intense limiting beliefs in those areas. And so when your inner self is sending you inspiration designed to move you to a new, expanded version of you, you must face these manifestation events because it's the only way you can identify these limiting beliefs. If an area in your life is not working, you will attract people and experiences that seem to contradict the event, seem to contradict your limited beliefs, seem to make it look like you are not safe, that you could be taken advantage of, that things aren't right, that people are being hostile or ornery in some way, or that they should be different than they are. And that's simply because there's a limiting belief down there that your inner self is aware of that needs to be exposed so that you can expand, so you can process that limiting belief and expand to a new level of awareness. As all of you are here to find out who you truly are, to make your way along a path of self-discovery, you will have to move through these limiting beliefs. You'll have to soften them, you'll have to expose them, you'll have to process them so that you can receive the inspiration and take the inspired action that will cause your expansion to more levels of awareness, to higher satisfaction, to higher joy in all other areas of your life. To stay rigid in your belief system is to attract many manifestation events and to suffer or be conflicted about what's actually happening in your reality, especially if you're here to move along this journey of self-discovery to become what you intended to be in this incarnation as you in this lifetime. So imagine that you, in your non-physical pre-birth state, set the intention to come forth to become a teacher, a leader. And along the way, you adopted limiting beliefs during this lifetime that said you were not worthy of teaching, you were not worthy of leading, you were not worthy of understanding this information, you were not worthy of being more than who you are not worthy of gaining more clarity or living this life of joy. And so your inner self then must be sending you manifestation events to point at those limiting beliefs so that you can address them. This is where your choice, your free will comes into place. You can go through a manifestation event and argue for your limitation by saying the event itself or the people involved are wrong and bad. And as you can see, this is what most people do. Your choice then is to now look at it as it is not wrong or bad. It is actually neutral. It's coming to me because it's for my benefit. I have to look at it from the higher perspective and see the benefit inherent in the event. I have to identify the limiting belief, and then I have to process that limiting belief. In the past, you might have simply considered the event wrong and left it at that. And now you are being asked to shape your set of beliefs in an empowering way that will allow your expansion to unfold exactly as you intended prior to your birth. Now, obviously this is true of you. We are the teacher of teachers, so you cannot be here on this call now or listening to this at a later date if you did not have the intention to come forth and teach, to come forth and be an example of alignment, to come forth and be a light worker, to come forth and be empathetic, to come forth and bring love into your reality and into the reality of the mass consciousness. You all came for that. Some of you are moving along your journey of self-discovery, kicking and screaming. You are saying, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not worthy of this. I have to prove myself or validate my existence. I need to get other people to like, love, and respect me. I need to get things that prove I'm worthiness. Need to get accomplishments and achievements and degrees and certificates to prove that I am worthy of teaching. And we say it's not about all of that. You do not teach by having a class and having people sit down. You teach through your example of alignment. And in that example of alignment, you'll receive so much inspiration that will move you forward so that if an idea comes to you, you will not resent it. You will not let it bounce off your belief structure. You will actually incorporate it to the very fiber of your being. You'll bring it within that belief structure and let it float around and affect the other beliefs and change who you actually are. And as you change who you are from fear to love, from confusion to clarity, you ascend to new levels of expansion. And then more new ideas can come, and more new ideas can come, and you gain confidence and even more clarity. And it is a spiral upwards as you raise your vibration. You become more sensitive, and this is a superpower. And then you become more aware of resistant thought. And now you can address the resistant thought at the thought stage before it becomes into a full-blown manifestation based in some fear. When you can start creating based solely in love, solely on inspired ideas without reacting to events and creating in fear, you become highly, highly, highly effective in everything you do. And you move along your journey with ease and joy. And this entire life becomes what it was meant to be in the first place, a fun and wonderful experience. This is what you all came for. This is what you all intended prior to your birth. This is the approach to life of full satisfaction and gratitude and alignment and joy and ease and full abundance and full freedom. The idea here is that in the moment, when you have an emotion, you have to understand what is triggering that emotion. It's either being triggered by a limiting belief or an empowering belief. The limiting belief needs to be addressed. It cannot be ignored because it will grow and grow and grow, and momentum will cause it to take root within the very fiber of who you think you are. We ask you to do this one thing. Suspend your need to know anything. Let go of anything you think you know. Remember that everything you think you know is just a belief, and those beliefs are used by you to define your reality, yourself, your friends, your family, your role in society, and all these things. And so in that very limited belief system, you do not allow inspiration to come. You do not trust that inner voice. You are always seeking validation and affirmation and confirmation from outside sources. Well, since all the outside sources, since all the leaders, since all your friends have their own journey, which is unique to them, they cannot know what's right for you. Only your inner self knows what's right for you. And that information and wisdom comes only when you're in alignment. It'll come in the form of inspiration, emotion, and direct communication. When you get to that stage where you're accepting more and more inspiration, you're acting on more and more inspiration, you will go through those experiences and expand to a new level of clarity where soon you will start to have direct mental communication with your inner self. And at that stage, you become a blended being and you act when inspired to act without giving thought or without considering the urges, the fears that will come up, because they must always come up. You'll start to identify what a fear is and what an inspiration is. And with that, we would like to talk to you about anything you'd like to talk about. Who would like to start?